Hi, I'm Monica Christofferson with Efficient Organization, and I am a professional organizer and productivity consultant, and I am based in the Seattle area. And I'm also a mom, so I know all about all the paper that comes home, all the art that is created, and that's what I want to talk about today. So I'm going to be doing a screen share with you, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. So we're talking about tips for dealing with kids' papers, their keepsakes. I'm hoping this is going to help you save space, save sanity, and help you with your organizational needs so that you don't feel like you're just overwhelmed with all the paper that's surrounding you from kids. We're going to talk today about processing school papers, so those things that are coming home. We're going to talk about some organizing tips for homework and how to store it. We're going to talk about the keepsakes that you do keep, all the art, maybe the stories, and we're going to talk about the 3D system. And the 3D system is very easy to implement. And finally, I want to share a few books and apps that could be helpful for you as well. Let's start with this little quote. Getting our houses in order and endowing our children and ourselves with a respect for and an appreciation of order is one of the most precious gifts we can give them and ourselves. And I really believe in this as a professional organizer and as a mom. I think organizing is a great skill to have in life. Everybody's going to take it to a different level. Some people are going to be very, very organized. Some are just going to be kind of medium organized, and that's fine. But I think as parents, it's very important to share those skills, just like you would teach kids about how to give to charity or how to budget or how to have a good work ethic. Organizing is a great skill that you can pass on to them so that as adults, they can take it to whatever level they want to take it to. And believe me, as a mom, even as an organizer and having systems for my kids when they were younger, things weren't always nice and neat and just so. But because they were learning that structure while they were young, as young adults, they have taken that and they've run with it, and my kids are organized and they have systems and they have files. So it can be very gratifying, but it can take some patience, so stick with it. And we will be talking about a lot of things that you would be implementing as the parent, but these are all still great examples for kids, and then they can start using some of these systems, and it will just be planting those seeds at a young age, so again, they can take that into adulthood. Let's start with the paper that's coming home from school. So here's that backpack. It might be full of paper, it might be full of permission slips and snacks and wrappers and water bottles. Who knows what's all in those backpacks sometimes. I do know that when my kids were younger, they had a lot of paper that came home from school. Every Wednesday, they had a Wednesday folder, had to open it up, go through it, things had to go back to the teacher. Now my kids are older, and one of my daughters is actually a teacher, and I do know that not as much comes home anymore, but I would think some art and sometimes some other things from the teacher may come home. So I do recognize that there's a lot more that's done now electronically. But let's start with step number one. Any papers that are in there, remove the papers from the backpack, open up the folder if it's a folder. Step number two would be to review what's in there. What do you have? Are there invitations? Are there flyers? Are there field trip slips that need to be signed? Is there something you need to sign up for to send back to the school? Is there the stuff they've been creating, the art, the stories, the poems? So just take it out, see what you have in front of you. Then you have to make some decisions. So let's look at how you can do that. So the next step would be making decisions with ACT, A-K-T. I realize this isn't ACT with a C, but just hang in there with me. So what is the first letter? A is for action. You go through those papers, and some of it requires action. So you have some options. You can do it right away. You sit down, you sign the field trip slip, or you can place it in a system that you can count on until you can come back to it and do it at a later date. A system could be a file box, it could be some folders, they could be labeled for action like to do or school, but having a place that you can count on that's not a stack, it's not a big pile, that when you're ready to go back and do it, you can go right to it and you know where it's at. The K is for keep, and this would be for papers that you want to keep as a long-term resource, a reference. It could be some kind of test results. It could be some information from the teacher that you just need to hold on to throughout the year. And you don't necessarily have to have it right at your fingertips, but you have it in a dependable place in a filing cabinet. So it could be a folder that's just labeled school, and then each child has their own folder inside, a manila folder inside, so you can go back to it. And again, just having those systems so you can count on where to go to find the information. Another way that you can keep things, if it is something you're actively working on, could be a household hub notebook, a binder. So all that is just getting yourself a cute 3-ring binder, some heavy duty page protectors. Each person has their own little divider tab that has their name on it. And that way you can just slide the school schedules, the snack schedules, the phone list, the sports lists, whatever they are, in each person's little section. Toss. There's your T. Not everything can be kept. You may have to run to the recycle bin, and sometimes you need to do that when nobody's watching. Of course, I want your kids at some point to make some of their own decisions, but you know, you can't keep it all. So maybe you have to run to the recycle every once in a while for things that you're not interested in, doesn't apply to you guys, and just something that can be moved out to make room for something new when it comes to art. But as far as the flyers and events and things, sometimes there's items you can just recycle right away. And I want you to do that. I want you to make quick decisions. Get things off of your desk, out of piles. Don't have to come back to it again and think about it and give it energy again. Now, out of that backpack might come some homework. You might have some packets depending on the age of your child or your children. Some kids like to move around. They like to go to the bedroom. They like to work on the bed, work on the floor, work at the kitchen table. So having a little homework caddy with all the supplies that they might need at their fingertips can be really, really helpful. It could be something cute like you see there on the screen, a little basket with a handle. It could just be a cardboard box that they decorate. It doesn't have to be fancy. The point is, again, knowing where things are at and being able to go back to them easily and quickly and depend on the systems. This will save you guys some time and stress so that they're not searching and looking every time they need a marker or a pair of scissors or a glue stick. With homework, it can be very handy to have a place where it lands so that when they're ready to work on it, they can go and get it. When they're ready to put it back in their backpack, they know where to get it. And you can very easily do that with some trays. It could be something like you see here on the screen, where it's little wall pockets. It could be some trays. It could be a magazine holder. But you want to make sure each child has their own. You want to make sure their names are on them and nothing else is going in there. That's not the time to put little game pieces or something on the tray. This is just for homework. So they learn a system. Something goes on this tray, it's homework, and when I need it, I know where to get it. So another example would be a tray like this. Each child gets their own, you get their names on the tray, and it's a nice, dependable, and easy system, and it keeps homework from getting mixed in with other piles of paper. Now, we've talked about there's probably some keepsakes that are going to come home in that backpack, or your kids are just going to be busy at home making a lot of different art projects and coloring and whatever it is they're working on. So I want to share the 3D system with you. It's very, very easy. The first D is to display things. So you could take photos. Your kids may go to school or work on something at home and it's big. It's a poster, it's a diorama, it's a big Lego project, and they want to display that, and that is great. But you can't be displaying things for years and years and years. Usually we mostly don't have the space to do that. So display it for a while and then take a picture of it so they have that memory. My kids used to like to stand next to the things or hold them up and take the pictures. So this is something they can hang up, and we'll talk about some ways that they can display things. Another display, just getting out the cereal box, taping stuff on the cereal box so they can see their art. When it's time to recycle the box, hopefully they're going to be okay just letting it go with the box. Inside cupboards can be another idea. Maybe you don't want to have art hanging everywhere. where you can see it as soon as you enter a room, but inside of the cupboard doors can be a great way for kids to see their art as you're working in the kitchen, as they're working in the kitchen, as they're getting a drink. So they go to get their glass and there's their art. And bulletin boards. I am a big believer in bulletin boards, giving kids a way to display their items so it looks like it's supposed to be there. Instead of just having things hanging all over the walls, give them a bulletin board, give them some cute push pins, and then they have a way to display those things and it looks organized. It looks like it's supposed to be there. It also helps them learn that if it's getting full, some things need to be removed. They need to make some decisions so that they can add some new things. So again, there are those organizing skills, how to make decisions on letting some things go. Another way to display is to frame things. So here's some framed photography. You can frame their art. You can scan things into the computer and keep it there to go back and look at in albums, or you can make albums, so making books. Maybe you like to scrapbook, which is great. Maybe you want to use something like Shutterfly or Snapfish, and that is a great option to create some books. You can even let your kids use the back of their doors. Maybe they just want to tape all their art up on the back of their door to enjoy. Another option is to have something like this where they hang a wire, you hang a wire, there's clips, and again, they can only hold so many things up there on those clips, and then they'll have to make some decisions on what to let go. The next D, the second D, is deposit, putting things inside something else. So a great way to do that is just to get a cute binder, heavy-duty page protectors, put those awards, school photos, soccer photos. Again, if you like to scrapbook, that's awesome. If you don't, this is a nice way to have a book that people can flip through. And I don't want it to be a job for anybody to enjoy the art and the keepsakes, because if it's just big Rubbermaid tubs and everything's all mixed in together, that's a little bit of a job to enjoy. Another example of deposit, just getting a magazine holder. Each child has their own, they have their name on it. Again, as it's getting full, they have to make some decisions on what they should let go. And another deposit is just having a keepsake portfolio. So I put the information for where to order that, and it's a great way to store things by grade level, and you can't put too much in, but they're nice oversized pockets. So those scrapbooks that teachers make sometimes, they fit in there. So it's a great way to store the keepsakes and have age or date or grade on the labels. And then we come back to discard. You can't keep it all. And I always like to think that if your child is, let's say second grade, and they have 50 math sheets, well, you get an idea of what they're doing for math, but you can also get the same idea from maybe 10 math sheets. You don't have to make it overwhelming to enjoy. Just get a little snippet of what they were doing. So some of this stuff can be discarded. And I have learned that kids are often really able to make some great decisions if enough time has gone by. So right after they create something, they probably don't want to recycle it. But if you go through it with them, maybe 6 months later, a few months later, and let them make some decisions, kids will often let go of quite a bit. So it's very exciting to see as they learn those skills. I said I wanted to share some books. Where's My Stuff is great for maybe middle school, high school. Sometimes kids will listen better to someone else. So a book might be a great little tool to pass on to them so they could read about some organizing tips from the book instead of from us. The Organized Student is a book that is great for parents to read, maybe middle school, high school, talking about the bedrooms, the backpacks, all of those things that kids are dealing with homework. And these books are both available on Amazon. So I'll put those in the link, some links in the description on the YouTube video. And then some apps. These are both in app and website form, but KeepyMe is great because you can use it for storing artwork, schoolwork, mementos. If you want to record yourself and tell a little story about something, that's another great option. And you can also make books. So you can scan all that art in there and make books for yourself, for your kids, for grandparents as gifts. So it's a great option for all those keepsakes. And I've already mentioned these, Snapfish, Shutterfly, both in app and website form. And again, you can scan things. It could be pictures that you have from your family as well as art. You can just make a really neat little book, and you can make copies, so you can order duplicates and give them out as gifts. So especially for grandparents, those can be really, really neat little keepsakes. To wrap it up, this is something you can do, and I know it. Just make little steps. Maybe it's implementing one little thing for now and then getting some steam on that and then doing something else to add to that system. So I'm glad that you spent a little time here learning about paper and keepsakes. Again, I am a professional organizer and productivity consultant. I help clients in the Seattle area, but I also can offer virtual consultations and organizing as well. I hope you have a great day, and I appreciate you spending the time with me today. Bye.